Samantha Hoffman here with a review of the documentary Three Identical Strangers. This is a fascinating story. Obviously, it's true since it's a documentary. And it's about triplets who were separated at birth. And their adoptive parents did not know they were one of triplets. It's um, it's serendipitous that they even found each other. The one brother named Bobby went to this kind of obscure community college, and when he got there, people were greeting him and they're saying, "Hey, how you doing? Oh, good to see you. I didn't think you were coming back." And he was totally confused by this. And then but they were also calling him Eddie, and he said, "You know what? I'm not Eddie." And he found out one person who saw him said, "You have a twin brother." And that guy called Eddie and said, "You have a twin brother." And so they met and they were so excited and they were just thrilled to connect with each other, and they were identical, and so that was really fun. And there was a newspaper article or magazine, I forget, and it went, it didn't go viral. It was way before that. This was like, I don't know, 50 years ago. But it was all over the news because it was such an interesting, fascinating story. And then they found out there was a third brother, and they were actually triplets. It begins with the interviewing of Bobby, the original kid who went to this community college. And for about the first 15 or 20 minutes of the film, it's interviewing him, and he tells the story about how he went to this college and how he found out he was a twin. And then it goes on from there. The first 15 or 20 minutes, I wasn't all that engaged in it. I was really engaged in the story, but you know how sometimes you meet somebody and right away you don't like them for some reason, and there's no nothing you can actually say why, but there's just something about that person you don't like, and so you're kind of repelled by them. And I felt that way about Bobby, not sure why, but it kind of took me out of the documentary. But then you get past that part and maybe you'll like Bobby, who knows. But you get past that part and then they go on to interview David. And then the story goes from there, and it's really kind of an insidious story about this organization who separated triplets. They were the only triplets, I think, and identical twins at birth to do a study of how they would fare growing up in different environments. So it was a study to determine whether nurture or nature is more important. And it's really funny because I came away from this documentary with one opinion. Actually, it verified my original. I mean, I've had this opinion all my life about whether it's nature or nurture, and this just kind of reinforced my opinion. But people in the documentary had differing opinions. So some people said, "Oh, this proves it's definitely nature," and others said, "Oh, it proves that it's definitely nurture." I found that really fascinating. Anyway, it's a really interesting story, and they did interview one other set of twins who were separated at birth and were, and it was the same agency that did that. It was a Jewish organization, and the head of the study died. The records are sealed. Nobody can read them until 2066. So these twins, these triplets, have no access to it. It's fascinating and compelling and frustrating. Anyway, I recommend you go see Three Identical Strangers, 5 stars out of 5 for that documentary.